Hi, this is Catholic Ben. Today I'd like to tell you about my 8th insight from the Exodus 90 journey, the 90 days of fasting, 3 times, 3 meals, 3 square meals a day, no food in between them, cold showers, reading the Bible and meditating upon it for at least 20 minutes a day, up to 1 hour, and things like that. And the thing that I'd like to share with you is that the path to freedom is a long one, and it gets boring along the way. 40-day Lent, maybe you can do it on your own without God's help. 90 days, no way. It takes deliberation, it takes up strength that you do not have. There's this initial excitement, you go into it and you can do it to some extent on your own will, on your own strength. But then it just gets really, really boring. After 50, 60 days of that thing, you read the texts with the Israelites, you're down by the mountain Sinai, you're receiving this tasks that, the Israelites are supposed to do on a day, how to build the temple, the tent, how to, do the sacrifices. It gets totally boring. It's just... And it takes a lot of perseverance, and it takes a lot of strength from God that, makes you, walk the steep, narrow path uphill. And that's how it is with every path to freedom, I found out. It just gets boring along the way. It gets really narrow. It's not a highway. It's a narrow path. It's a winding road. And it requires God's strength and help for you to continue on it. The Israelites. Remember where we talked about the Israelites being sent into the Red Sea, and it required faith of them, but not so much because they had the exterior motive. They had the Egyptian army coming at them, forcing them into the sea. That was pretty easy to go. Then they had to endure the desert. According to some calculations, it takes about 11 days to get straight from Egypt on foot to the Promised Land. You know how long it took them to get there? It took them 40 years. But why? Because in the last steps, right before the Promised Land, this first generation of Israelites just stopped. They went and they sent some people into the Promised Land, and what they saw there, yes, there was milk and there was honey and there was freedom. Everything was in abundance like God had promised. But there were also giants, like big people that they were really afraid of. And it would take another extra merit of courage, of faith really, for them to get into the Promised Land this time. But God expected them to do that. Why? Because they had already experienced all of the miracles that He did for them. And it's the same with me, it's the same with everyone that have done Exodus. We have experienced God's strength, God's power working in our lives, and now we're expected to go full force and go into the Promised Land. God was really angry with this generation of Israelites. They had left Egypt, but Egypt hasn't left them. And so it required another generation, another 40 years for them to be able to enter into the holy Promised Land. And I'm just praying for myself and for you as well that it won't take 40 years, but it probably will take a long time for us to be completely free, to be freed by God. It's a lifelong project for us, really. But when you enter into the trust, enter into the faith, most of your work has already been done. You're walking along with God and you're not walking against God. And that's my 8th out of 9 realizations, is that if I want to enter freedom, I have to walk with God daily and trust Him and do things that are totally counterintuitive. Okay, see you next time. God bless. Bye-bye. Glad you're following along. Ciao.